How is Israel going to respond to the murder of 12 kids in a Druze village in northern Israel this past Shabbat, July 27th? The Druze are righteous Gentiles. 80% of the Druze population in Israel drafts into the IDF, and among the Druze soldiers who are currently serving, 39% are in combat roles. They're highly motivated to serve in meaningful roles, and many of them have sacrificed their lives for our country. This terrible attack was carried out by Hezbollah with an Iranian drone. You don't have to be a prophet to answer this question. The Israelis are obviously going to respond the way they have responded to all the murderous attacks against Israelis for the past 75 years. And that is, to first show how capable they are of exacting revenge. And then, how weak, spineless, and pathetic they are, because although they are capable of vanquishing their enemy, they do not have the guts to do so. This is always what Israel does. Iran shoots 350 deadly missiles and drones, which potentially could have killed thousands of Israelis. Hayalesiya. Israel retaliates by hitting one military target deep into Iranian territory to show them how capable they are. But at the same time, they demonstrate how weak and pathetic they are because they're too chicken to use that power they have, and they absolutely refuse to neutralize the enemy to the point that they can never threaten us again, even though they have just demonstrated that they have the capabilities to do so. And that's why when the Houthis sent a drone over 2,000 miles to hit an apartment building in Tel Aviv last Friday, killing one man and injuring many others, Israel again responded by showing how capable they are of destroying Houthi targets, and how incredibly cowardly they are by not using their strength to demolish the enemy to the point that they will never attack again. And this is surely how they will respond to this attack as well. Neither you or I are prophets, but we all know that this will be the case. It has been proven time and again that the Israeli government just doesn't have what it takes to be a normal government that destroys the enemies who attack them, so as to ensure that their citizens will not be attacked again. How many of our people do they have to kill in order that Israel have the sufficient determination to destroy our enemies? The answer is it makes no difference. There is simply no number that would create a spine in a spineless government. During the Yom Kippur War, when the Egyptians waged an all-out war against Israel with a desire to annihilate every man, woman, and child in Israel, and tragically they did succeed in killing over 2,600 soldiers. What did Israel do in response? They surrendered to the Egyptians. They went on to give them back the massive territory of the Sinai that we had captured with the blood of our soldiers. We gave them airfields and oil fields. But the biggest gift was the agreement that the Americans will give billions and billions year after year to the Egyptians, and that the Americans will build up the Egyptian military with superior tanks, fighter jets, and weapons, much more advanced than the ones they had been receiving from the Russians all the previous years. And this is so that the Egyptian army could be built into a modern, formidable force that could actually present a serious threat to Israel. This was the brilliant response of Prime Minister Begin to the Yom Kippur War. And this was considered a great accomplishment and a cause for celebration by the pathetic Israeli government. But it really makes no difference who was sitting in the Prime Minister's chair. They're all the same, right, left, and center. This is always the way Israel responds when we are attacked by a country who wants to annihilate us. First, we show them our capabilities, and then we surrender. And we often ensure and facilitate the rebuilding of the enemy's military power to the extent that they then can present even a greater threat than they had presented before the attack. What is incredible about this is that there has never in the history of mankind been such a pathetic government. One, that had, on the one hand, they succeeded in building an incredibly successful state, economically and militarily. But on the other hand, they're so incredibly spineless that they simply do not have the emotional capability of using their military might to vanquish their enemies and ensure the safety and security of our citizens. This type of government is completely unnatural. It just defies logic how there could be such a paradox. A mighty country with the capabilities to destroy their enemies and protect their citizens, but without the inner strength to use their capabilities. And because this is so unnatural, it is absolutely amazing that the holy rabbis of the Talmud could actually predict this scenario over 1,500 years ago. In Tractate Sanhedrin in the Talmud, page 98b, Omer Rabbi Chama bar Chanina, Rabbi Chama, the son of Chanina, said, Ein ben David ba. The Messiah, Mashiach ben David, will not come at Shetichle Malchus Hazala mi Yisrael, until the most pathetic and weak government will cease from Israel. And the Talmud finds a hint of this in the verse in Isaiah chapter 18. These holy rabbis were able to see over 1,500 years into the future and look at the current Israeli government and assure us that their weak and pathetic leadership will soon end and be replaced with the kingdom of Mashiach. So let's summarize. What's the difference between someone who is physically weak but spiritually and emotionally courageous and fearless, and someone who is the reverse? Let's say we witness a big strong bully who is beating up somebody 1/4 his size and strength. The smaller guy fights like a lion and bloodies the big guy, but in the end he loses. Is the little guy pathetic? The answer is, of course not. On the contrary, he's a hero. He's great. He deserves only admiration for putting up a good fight, despite his obvious disadvantage in terms of his size and strength. But when the reverse happens, and a little pipsqueak starts punching a guy 5 times his size, and the big guy makes a fist, and he says, "You see this big mighty fist? If I wanted, I could pound you into a pancake." So the little guy says, "I dare you," and the big guy runs away. This is the most pathetic scene you can imagine, and that exactly defines the Israeli government from its inception until today, until it will be replaced with the government of Mashiach speedily in our days. Until next time, may God be with you.